Hi, good morning, student. Today we are going to study another important topic in physiology in the first unit of physiology. Okay, this class is only for first semester BSc nursing students, not for others. You always, when you are watching, selecting videos, you see whether it is for first semester, second semester, or third semester, fourth semester. Okay, like that you should see and watch. Because I'm I'm taking classes for all semester, first semester, third, second semester, third semester. So always you are before watching the video, just confirm whether this is allotted for you or this is included in your syllabus or not. Okay. Anyway, I mentioned in the first slide, this is for first. Here you can see first semester BSc nursing. Okay. And now we are studying first unit of physiology. In that very important, already cell cycle we taken. First topic cell cycle. It's very important for 10 mark essay, 5 mark essay, and 2 mark, 1 mark. So you watch that one, and already we completed first unit of anatomy, and now we have started physiology first unit. In that cell cycle we completed. Second topic and very important question, frequently asked question, transportation across cell membrane. Always I am taking topics based on the previous exam questions, so like previous exams, those which topic they are giving more important, that topics I am taking first. Okay, why I'm choosing textbook notes means if you are reading these notes, you will get 1 mark question. As you know, as per the new pattern of exam, you are getting 6 or 7, oh, no, 7 or 8 MCQ questions also. If you want to cover these 7 or 8 MCQ questions, you should read textbooks. Means I am taking topics from notes from textbook. Not, I'm not going for short notes. Only very rare topics I will go for short notes, because that is not much important. Okay, important topics always I will depend on textbook notes, because you will read and at least 1 or 2 times you will read these notes, you will get these MCQ questions correctly. And if you are getting MCQ questions correctly, it is very essential and it is very good to score high marks in the exams. Okay, here it's today we are going to deal transportation across cell membrane. Already we studied what is meant by cell, what is the structure of cell, what are the functions of structural organelles, and what is the cell cycle. Everything we studied together in the anatomy and physiology. The first unit of anatomy and physiology, we studied all things. Now we are studying how these nutrients, electrolytes, gases, everything will be entering into the cell, how these nutrients, electrolytes from the cell, from inside of the cell, how it is moved out of the cell. This is transportation. Okay, movement of ions and electrolytes in nutrients, gases inside of the cell and to the outside of the cell. That is meant by transportation. It is this transportation occurring through the cell membrane of cell. So this is the topic, transportation across cell membrane. This is the 9th class of first semester based on English explanation. If you want my Malayalam explanation, you can go for previous videos. Already I took these classes, everything in the Malayalam explanation also. If you want English explanation, you can watch these classes. Okay, transportation across cell membrane. And don't skip the video. If you want to study this topic, don't skip the video. Please watch continuously, and if you like the video, please press the like button. And if you have any comments or suggestions, corrections, anything, you can mention in the chat boxes or messages. And if you have any friends struggling to study first semester, you can share these videos for them also. Okay, thank you for choosing my video. And if you didn't subscribe our channel, please subscribe our channel if it is useful. Okay, here you can see your syllabus, first unit of physiology. In this, today we are going to study transportation across cell membrane, and next class we will study body fluid compartments. This also I will explain shortly, because these body fluid compartments and electrolytes, everything you will study in the fundamentals of nursing. In the fundamentals of nursing, it is very important topic. You should study very detailedly. In anatomy, fluid compartment is not giving much important. Anyway, we will take on class next, we will take on fluid compartment class. Already we discussed cell cycle. Okay, here 3 topics are the important topic and previously asked questions. Okay, now we will study transport of substances across cell membrane. What is meant by transportation? Movement of substances into cell and outside of the cell, from the cell to outside of the cell. This is known as transportation of substances across cell membrane or transportation in cell. Okay, the structure of plasma membrane. Already we studied plasma membrane or cell membrane structure. Okay, it have a special format. Is it? Fluid mosaic model and all I explained. In that I told you it have specific structure format, infrastructure for plasma membrane. It provides the property of selective permeability. What is meant by selective permeability? It is permeable to only selective substances. Permeable means it permits transportation of. It opens the way only for particular substances. That is meant by selective permeability. Cell membrane have the property of selective permeability. What is meant by selective permeability? It permits only selective substances to pass through the cell membrane into and outside of the cell. Okay, it allows only particular substances to enter into the cell and move out of the cell. That is one of the important property of plasma membrane, that is selective permeability. Now you understood what is meant by selective permeability. Okay, meaning that not all substances can cross it. Okay, same thing I told you. Selective permeability means all substance can't go inside of the cell and can't go outside of the cell. So it all permits only particular substance or selective substances to pass through the our cell membrane. That property is known as selective permeability. It is based on what there's which substances will be allowing pass through the cell membrane based on the size and characteristics of substances. Based on the size and characteristics of substances, some substances can pass through the plasma membrane, some can't. Okay, here you can see mainly the transportation across cell membrane divided into two types, that is passive transport and second one is active transport. Two transportation system, that is first one is passive transport, second one is active transport. Okay, first we will see what is meant by passive transport and what are the types of transportation system will come under passive transport. Passive transport, here you can see this occurs, that means passive transport occurs when substances can cross semi-permeable plasma and organelle membranes and move down the concentration gradient without using energy. This is the word. Okay, passive means there is no need of energy for the transportation. Okay, if the particles are moving or passing through the semi-permeable cell membrane, semi-permeable means half or some. Okay, it permits only few substances to pass through the plasma membrane. That's why it's known as semi-permeable membrane. Okay, this passive transport means in this cell membrane, some substances will pass through this cell membrane without using energy. There is no need of energy. Okay, that type of transportation is known as passive transport. Sometimes they may ask difference between passive transport and active transport. What is meant by passive transport? To pass substances or to transport substances through the semi-permeable cell membrane. There is no need of energy. The substances will transport through the semi-permeable membrane without using energy. Then what is meant by active transport? Some substances will cross through the semi-permeable cell membrane with using energy. They need energy to pass through the cell membrane. That is known as active transport. That we will study later. Now we will see what are the types of passive transport. Okay, you understood? Passive transport means without using energy. Okay, first type of passive transport mechanism is known as diffusion. This and all you studied in the previous school ages also you studied what is meant by diffusion, what is meant by osmosis and all you studied. Here we will study little more detailing. Okay, what is meant by diffusion? This also they may ask for 2 mark or 1 mark question. Altogether transport of substances across cell membrane, and they may ask for 5 mark question. Many time they ask for 5 mark question also. What is meant by diffusion? Here you can say diffusion refers to the movement of molecules from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration and occurs mainly in gases, liquids and solution. Understood? Diffusion, what is meant by diffusion? Movement of molecules, that is very important. What is meant by molecules? That is solvent, sorry, solute. Solute, what is meant by solute? Some substances, to make a solution we will mix some substances or solute to a solvent, is it? An example I will tell you. To prepare sugar solution, we will take water first, water, then sugar, and we will mix together, is it? This water is known as solvent, okay. This sugar is known as solute, okay. You understood what is meant by solute and solvent? The liquid form or in that which substance we are mixing, that is known as solute. In which substance is get mixed, that is known as solvent, okay. Water is solvent and sugar is solute. This is more clear explanation. What to prepare sugar solution, water we will take and sugar also will take. Water is solvent and sugar is solute. So here solute, you understood, sugar. Or if you are making salt solution, salt is solvent, okay. This solvent, sorry, salt is solute. This solute is known as solute will, sorry, in this diffusion this solute will move from area of higher concentration to area of lower concentration. For what they are moving from higher concentration to lower concentration? To prepare a homeostatic or equilibrium in the solution. All area of solute should be equalized concentration, okay. So it should not be some area of the solution is more solute and some area is less solute. To avoid that one, this solutes will move from higher concentration to lower concentration to make a equal solution, equal solute concentration in the whole solution, okay. For that they are moving. This process is known as diffusion. Diffusion is known as what is meant by diffusion? It's a movement of molecules from an area of higher concentration to area of lower concentration. It mainly occurs in gases. Gases also will move from higher concentration to lower concentration to equalize the concentration all over area, okay. And liquids also will move from like this, and solution also move like this, okay. Sugar molecules heaped at the bottom of cup of a coffee that has not been stirred well, okay. Suppose we are making a coffee and we prepared milk and mixed with the coffee powder, and that we are adding sugar, we are adding 1 spoon of sugar in that. We didn't mix that well. That means in the bottom of the glass is full of sugar molecule. It is not distributed equally in the coffee, okay. To make equal concentration every area of cup of tea, what we will do, we will mix or we will stir this coffee with some stick, is a some stick or spoon. We will stick continuously, and this concentration will be equalized in all area of coffee. This process is known as diffusion, okay. This sugar molecules was first, it was more concentrated in the bottom of the glass. After stir, okay, after mixing, it became equal concentration in all area of coffee. How? This higher from the higher concentration area, this sugar molecule moved to lower concentrated area. This process is known as diffusion, okay. The process of diffusion is speeded up if the temperature is rises. If temperature is more, this diffusion process will be, rate of diffusion process will be more. Okay, concentration of diffusion can also occur across a semi-permeable membrane such as plasma membrane or capillary wall. But here first we studied what is meant by diffusion. Movement of solute or movement of molecules from an area of higher concentration to lower concentration. It may occur in gases, liquids and any other solution. And second, I told example sugar solution. What is solvent? What is solute? Okay. And next I am telling another point. Diffusion process, the rate of diffusion process will be high in higher temperature. If temperature is more or higher temperature, this rate of diffusion or diffusion process will be more more fast. Okay, the same process occurring in our cell membrane also. In through the cell membrane, if this, suppose this area, this is cell membrane, here solute is more concentrated, here solute is less concentration, means this solute will more concentration, from the more concentrated area it will enter into the less concentrated area through cell membrane. Okay, how this diffusion occur in the cell membrane? This is semi-permeable membrane. Here concentration is more, solute concentration is more, here concentration is less. So it will move from higher concentrated area to lower concentration area to equalize both area. After this diffusion, here and here both area will be equal concentration. Okay, solute concentration will be equalized. For that only this molecules moves from one area to another area. The same thing happening, this process is happening in our lungs. I will give you example, I will give you more details here. Only molecules small or soluble enough to cross the membrane can diffuse through. One more important point, not all molecule can move from higher concentration to lower concentration. Not all molecule. Some molecule, only small size molecule, soluble enough molecule, which molecule can soluble in that medium, that can pass through this cell membrane. Understood? Okay, not all molecule, only small molecule and some molecules, selective molecules can pass through this cell membrane through diffusion. For example, oxygen diffuses freely through the walls of alveoli. These examples and all they may ask, they will give an example like they will ask what process, what transportation mechanism is occurring there. In the lungs, you know, alveoli, the microscopic unit, structural and functional unit of lungs is known as alveoli. This is a site for gas exchange. Okay, what that and all we will study in the next chapter. Anyway, we are going to study respiratory system in the next chapter. Okay, there we will study more detailing. Now you understand in the lungs how this gas exchange occurs, where this gas exchange occurs, in the alveoli, that is air sacs of the lungs, that we will study later. Anatomy and physiology of lungs we will study later. In that, oxygen to be exchanged, oxygen and carbon dioxide should be exchanged in the alveoli. How it is exchanged? Through diffusion process, where oxygen concentration are high into the bloodstream, where oxygen concentration are high, where in the lungs or alveoli oxygen concentration is high, bloodstream or in the blood oxygen concentration is low. So what will happen? This higher, from the higher concentration to lower concentration, oxygen molecules will move. Okay, in the alveoli or the lungs, oxygen concentration is more. In the bloodstream, oxygen concentration is less. So from the higher concentrated area or from the alveoli, this oxygen will move into bloodstream. In that process only, through that process only, in our blood we are getting oxygen. Then after that, through the blood circulation, we will get oxygen. We will transport this oxygen to all over our body. Is it? You understood? In our lungs, we have microscopic structure unit, that is alveoli. In that, oxygen is higher concentration. We have higher concentrated oxygen. But in bloodstream, we have low concentrated oxygen. So what will happen? This oxygen is smaller molecule. This can pass through this cell membrane. Cell membrane, it will end from the alveoli. It will enter into the bloodstream. Through the bloodstream, it will transport into our all over body. Okay, this is known as, this is an example of diffusion. However, blood cells and large protein molecules in the plasma are too large to cross and so remain in the blood. But oxygen will move, but in our blood we have blood cells like WBC, RBC, platelets, many blood cells is there. Some plasma proteins like albumin, globulin, like plasma proteins is. But in these molecules, these cells and plasma proteins are too large, is big size, so it cannot pass through alveoli. Through it cannot move into alveoli or in any other area. It will remain in the blood itself, so it is staying inside the blood. It will not move to outside of the blood vessels because of this big size. Okay, because of the size of blood cells and size of the large plasma proteins, it will stay inside the blood. Okay, small molecules diffuse down their concentration gradient. Some examples will tell you. Lipid soluble materials like oxygen, carbon dioxide, fatty acids, steroids, these molecules can be transported or cross or enter into the cell membrane. Okay, into the cell. It can cross the membrane by dissolving in the liquid part of the membrane. The structure, while I am explaining about the cell membrane, I told you one end of the cell membrane is what? Lipid part, and one end, inside the center part is water soluble part. Water soluble, one part is lipid part and one is water soluble part, or hydrophobic and hydro loving part. Okay, and through the hydrophobic part or lipid loving part or lipid part of the membrane, what will enter? Oxygen will enter, carbon dioxide will enter, fatty acids will enter, steroids will, these all substances will enter into the cell membrane through the process of diffusion. Okay, some water soluble materials we can tell. So examples: sodium, potassium, calcium can cross the membrane by passing through water filled channel. In the cell membrane we have some water filled channel also. Through that medium, through that water filled channels, what molecules will enter? Sodium, potassium, calcium. These electrolytes will enter into the water filled channel. Okay, oxygen, carbon dioxide, fatty acids, steroids will enter into the lipid part of the membrane. These all occur through diffusion process. Okay, yeah, now you understood diffusion process. It's a movement of, simply if I'm telling, diffusion is the movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. Okay, here you can see the picture before diffusion. This is water and this is some solute, maybe salt, sugar, anything. It is staying in the bottom of the glass. It's not equally distributed in the solution before diffusion. After diffusion means from the higher concentration, it is moving to lower concentrated area and it prepared to equal concentrated solution. Okay, equal concentration. Here no area. Here is, there is no specific area with a higher concentration. All area solute concentration is equal. This is occurring after diffusion. Okay, next we will study one more type of, specific type of diffusion is known as facilitated diffusion. What is meant by facilitated diffusion? This also they may ask for 1 mark or 2 mark question. What is meant by facilitated diffusion? This passive process is used by some substances that are unable to diffuse through the semi-permeable membrane unaided. Okay, some very rare, some molecules cannot pass freely through the cell membrane without energy. Okay, it doesn't need energy, still it needs some support. Some molecules can enter into the cell with some support molecules only. This type of diffusion process is also moving from higher concentration to lower concentration only, but still it can be moved freely through into the cell. Okay, it needs some supports. Here we'll read in the explanation, then you will understand. The passive process means it doesn't need energy. There is no need for energy. Facilitated diffusion also, there is no need for energy. Okay, some substances unable to, it can't diffuse through semi-permeable membrane without support. Unaided means without support. It needs support to pass through the cell membrane. Like example, glucose and amino acids. It doesn't need energy. It enter into the cell through the diffusion only, but still it needs some support. That type of diffusion is known as facilitated diffusion. What type of support we are expecting here? Some carrier proteins. Okay, specialized protein carrier molecules in the cell membrane have specific sites that attract and bind substances to be transported, like a lock and key mechanism. Okay, here I will tell you. Here you can see, for example, one sugar molecule want to enter into cell membrane, or an amino acids molecule want to enter into the cell membrane. It can't transport through the normal part of cell membrane. It needs some protein carrier. In the cell membrane, we have some protein carrier. When I explained the cell membrane, I told you there is some protein carriers. Okay, only through this protein carrier site we can transport this glucose and amino acids. Okay, from glucose molecule will come inside the protein carrier. Through protein carrier it will enter into the cell. Same way, and amino acids also, glucose or amino, same thing, it will come into the particular carrier protein, and through carrier protein it will enter into the cell. This carrier protein, what is the speciality of this carrier protein? This carrier protein will open only for this specific molecules. If suppose this carrier protein is for glucose, means it will carry only protein, not amino acids. Okay, if it is suppose this carrier protein is transporting amino acids, means it will carry only amino acids, not any other molecules. Okay, this, because of this carrier protein we are transporting, these molecules are diffusing into the cell membrane. This type of diffusion is known as facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion doesn't mean that it needs energy. It doesn't need energy. It is, this mechanism is occurring same like diffusion only. These molecules are moving from higher concentration to lower concentration. The only difference is it needs a support, like a protein carrier. In the cell membrane we have different protein carrier. For example, glucose and amino acids are moved from higher concentration to lower concentration through this carrier protein only, not like other parts of cell membrane. Okay, it is possible only, it will diffuse only through the protein carrier. Understood? Okay, the carrier then changes its after transporting these molecules inside. This carrier protein will changes in shape and deposits substance in the other side of the membrane specific, and it's only for one substance. The carrier sites are already told you. This carrier sites are transporting glucose, mean it will transport only glucose, not for other molecules. It is specific for one substance, not for all substance. Okay. And third one, in the passive transport, third mechanism, another important transport mechanism is osmosis. Okay, osmosis. First we studied diffusion. In that one more specific type we studied facilitated diffusion, and the third one is osmosis. Here we will see what is meant by osmosis. Osmosis is passive movement. That means it doesn't need without energy. Okay, without energy of water. Okay, in the diffusion what we studied, it is a passive movement of solute. Okay, solute, that means sugar or salt or any other solute. Here osmosis means it's a passive movement of water. down its concentration gradient towards equilibrium across cell semi-permeable membrane. Here what is happening? This is osmosis. For example, tell you to, okay, here semi-permeable membrane is there, here filled with water and some small solutes are mixed. What is the problem here? Here more concentrated solution is there, here very less. Okay, what will happen in this? In this, to equalize the solute concentration, that is an important point. To equalize the solute concentration, in this osmosis, what is moving from one chamber to another chamber? Water is moving. Here you can see, after osmosis, more water came to here. Okay, so equalize the concentration. Here less water. Okay, to equalize the concentration, water will move from one chamber to one area to another area, not solute. In the diffusion, what is moving? Solute is moving. Solute is moving from higher concentration to lower concentration. Here in the osmosis, water is moving from lower concentrated area to higher concentrated area, not solute, water. Water or solvent we can say. Solvent means or same like water only. Water is moving from lower concentration to higher concentration. Where is solute available in the lower concentration, there is more water. That means lower concentration, solute is less means water is more. Is it? So more water will move from lesser concentration to higher concentration. Water will move from lesser concentration to higher concentration. Then it will equalize the concentration. Here you can see, oh, here no, I didn't take that picture. Once again I will draw picture here. This is semi-permeable membrane. Till here we have water. Both chamber we have equal water. But here we have more solutes. More solute. Here we have only less solutes. After osmosis, what will happen? This is semi-permeable membrane. This water, this area, here only some solute is there. So to equalize both side, to equalize concentration of solute in both side, from this area water will move to this area. Okay, and here only till here water will be available and concentration will be equal. Okay, here also this same solute will be available there, but it will be equalized the concentration, and water will move from lower concentration to higher concentration. This process is known as osmosis. Osmosis. Osmosis is a passive movement, that means doesn't need energy. In this, water will move from lower concentration to higher concentration. While diffusion molecule across a molecule result equal concentration on both sides of membrane, osmosis refers to the diffusion of water. Okay, here what is moving? Water is moving. Water is moving from lower concentration to higher concentration. Okay, you understood? This is happening in the solution, in the blood also. The isotonic solution, hypotonic solution, hypertonic solution, this and all you will study later. Here you can see one solution, inside that one cell is there. In the cell water is less, outside of the cell water is more. So water will enter into the cell and it will become large to equalize the concentration on outside and inside of the cell. Okay, that and all, no need. You just leave it this one. Just understand this picture. Okay, osmosis. What is meant by osmosis? To equalize the concentration from the lower concentration to higher concentration. Water is moving. Water is moving from the higher concentration to lower concentration. Okay, this is all about passive transport. Next, we will study active transport. What is meant by active transport? To transport substances, it needs energy. Okay, mainly why we need energy? To transport solutes. If it is solutes moving from higher concentration to lower concentration, means it will move freely without energy. If we want to transport solutes from lower concentration to higher concentration, means we need energy. That type of transportation is known as active transport. What is meant by active transport? Substances move from lower concentration to higher concentration. It needs energy. Okay, this type of transportation is known as active transport. Very important and repeatedly asked question is sodium potassium pump. This also they may ask for 5-mark question in the active transport, sodium potassium pump. In the cell, we need to transport sodium and potassium. For that, we need energy. This is an example of active transport. All cells possess this pump, sodium potassium pump. Sodium and potassium transportation is known as sodium potassium pump. All cells having sodium potassium pump. Each indirectly supports other transport mechanisms such as glucose uptake and is essential maintaining, and that and all you leave it. Here you see what is how the sodium and potassium transporter. This active transport mechanism maintains the unequal concentration of sodium. As you all know, in our extracellular fluid, what is meant by extracellular fluid? The fluid present outside of the cell, that is extracellular fluid. In the extracellular fluid, sodium is higher concentration. Okay. In the intracellular fluid, that means what is maybe intracellular fluid? Fluid present inside the cell. Okay, intracellular fluid having potassium high concentration. In our body, all areas sodium and potassium is not similar concentration. In the extracellular fluid, sodium is higher concentration. Intracellular fluid, potassium is higher concentration. How it is maintaining? That is through sodium potassium pump. For the pressurized or energized transportation of sodium and potassium, to maintain the higher concentration of sodium in the extracellular fluid and to maintain the higher concentration of potassium in the intracellular fluid, we need energy for the transportation of sodium and potassium. This process is known as active transport. Okay, this is known as active transport because it needs energy. Okay, this many things is enough now. Now you just started your nursing, so if I am explaining more about these things and you will not understand, you will feel bored. So I am stopping here. What is meant by sodium and potassium pump? Inside of the cell, potassium is higher concentration. Outside of the cell, sodium is higher concentration. To maintain this concentration level, higher and lower level, we need a separate transport system and we need a energy for this transportation system. This is known as active transport. This sodium potassium maintained through this mechanism. This mechanism is known as sodium potassium pump. Okay. Okay, next another one active transport is bulk transport. What does it mean by bulk transport? This is cell. One bulk molecule or bulk particle came to this area. This bulk particle came to this area, cell membrane. What our what our cell will do? Cell will engulf this bulk particle and it will enter into our cell. This mechanism is known as bulk transport. Otherwise, it is known as cell drinking or phagocytosis or cell eating. What will happen there? One bulk particle is there. Here one cell is there. What will do? This cell will engulf this. It will go to surrounding area of bulk particle and it will cover that bulk particle. Now this bulk particle will enter into the cell. This type of transport is known as phagocytosis or cell drinking or cell eating or bulk transport. Then you should know what is meant by exocytosis. This is phagocytosis or endocytosis. What is meant by exocytosis? The same thing. This is our cell. We have some bulk particle here. We have to move this particle to outside of the cell. So what will happen? This is cell. It will become like this. The cell particle came to here and this cell membrane will break and this will move out this cell bulk particle to outside, and then this cell membrane will close. This process is known as exocytosis. Just know this one, exocytosis and endocytosis. Endocytosis means bulk particle we are taking inside of the cell by or through phagocytosis. Exocytosis means some particle presence or some bulk particle present inside of the cell. We want to move this bulk particle to outside of the cell. Through this process we will move out. This process is known as exocytosis. This is all about the transportation mechanism or transport across cell membrane. What and all we studied, no need to go for so much detail, just understand the meaning and make a note. Okay, and if you're going too much, if I'm explaining everything, we have many things to study in this transportation mechanism, but so many basic things we have to study. That and all we will study in the fundamentals of nursing. When I'm taking fundamentals of nursing classes for you, I will explain you everything. Okay, first one is mainly two types of transport mechanism, passive and active. In the passive, doesn't need energy. First one is diffusion, second one is facilitated diffusion, third one is osmosis. And the second types is class active transport. In the main type is sodium potassium pump, and the second one is bulk transport. In that I explained phagocytosis and endocytosis and exocytosis. Okay, this and all we will study later. Okay, once we going to system wise, no, that time we will study very detailedly. Okay, if you have any doubt, you just mention in the comment box. I will explain when I'm taking another chapters. Okay, this is one small basic only. This is first unit of physiology. You should have basic idea, and later we are studying more detailed topics. I will explain you detail about that. Okay, and which I told you, know, endocytosis and exocytosis. Here you can see through this process. Here phagocytosis occurring and it become inside, and after use it should be excreted out through exocytosis. Through this mechanism it become outside. Okay, this is exocytosis. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye bye.